A knowledge of the basic part of pawn endings should be part of any chess player's armory, but of course Fischer knew it, and he also could calculate very accurately and deeply ahead. This helped him as well in many endings, and in pawn endings it is often possible to calculate very far, as there are not so many candidate moves for both sides. But nevertheless, here in this game with white against Arthur Bisguier from the US Championship in New York 1959, with black to move, it is still a draw, despite the strong, dangerous outside pass g-pawn. But the activity of black's king just counterbalances this and the very reduced number of pawns. But Bobby, of course, fought on. If he doesn't overpress too hard, then white cannot lose, of course. White plays for Zugzwang. What to do? What did Bisguier play? A5. This weakens his queen side, but in a way that is still acceptable. Again, black is in Zugzwang, and again Bisguier reacts by moving his a-pawn. Okay, now Bobby had a choice. To play further for Zugzwang with king f3, or to exchange his g-pawn against a few of black's queenside pawns. What is the both variations don't win, of course, but what is the best practical chance? What would you have tried? I think that Bobby's way to play, to exchange the g-pawn against c&a pawn, gives the best practical winning chances. Continuing to play for Zugzwang is met by, king f6 or b5. Black must play king f6. b5 weakens the queen side too much. Now it's a deadly Zugzwang because b4 can be met by taking, and the breakthrough is stopped in the typical way. And then white wins, as the joint square of the b and g pawn has already reached the 8th rank, and white wins. But okay, it could also be calculated. A common square. I think the English expression is common square, I think. But okay, what the way you want to put it. White wins. So b5 is a mistake. Then the outside passed pawn prevails in the typical way for such pawn endings as in the textbook examples. But if Bisguier plays king f6, he wouldn't have played b5. He had already shown by moving the a-pawn that he has understood the problem. Then white cannot win. And white could even overpress. If white just continues here, black waits. And now white cannot. Now it's a draw. White's king must leave the king side, as white cannot play king g5. Then black even wins. Now white's king is not in time to stop the breakthrough, and so black's surviving pawn will queen to decide the day. Bobby's way to play with g5 seems to be the best chance, and indeed in the end it worked out. This is the typical. Black's king is forced away from the scene of action on the queen side by the outside passed pawn, and so the attacking king can win pawns. But the winning potential is just so reduced here that it's a draw, despite the relative large draw, winning tendency of pawn endings, and usually an extra passed pawn is worth very, very much and can very often be converted. But here it's a draw. Black's b-pawn is well placed so far behind, and black's king can always keep the correspondence. For the moment, this guy defends well. Okay, Bobby doesn't, they don't move pawns. You can try, Bobby, does the best he can. The position is a draw, but he tries very hard to set difficult problems for Biscaya. And now comes the critical moment. What would you play with black to move? But of course you must keep in mind that it has already been a very long game and a very tough defense. And the clock is ticking and so on. Yeah, Bobby was often rewarded for his fighting spirit. He always sets new problems to the opponent. King d2 draws. White cannot win the fight for the correspondence here. Black's king is always in time to deal with active actions and can keep the correspondence. The king b6, king c4, and king b4, and it's a draw. And after b4, king c4, and now the king keeps the correspondence to be back in time now. And b6. And now it's an easy theoretical draw. After king d2 there are several, of course, many more lines. But White cannot win, as is also confirmed by the endgame table basis. Now, this is, of course, not so easy over the board, always with Black's king to find the right corresponding square. So, even if Biscaya would have played king d2, I guess Bobby would have pressed on. But against best defense, he can play on for a long time, but he can't win. While after b6, this pawn is now too close to White's forces, allowing a b4 c5 with following by queening easier than in the other lines, and now it is lost. Probably, or maybe Biscaya missed that after king c2, Bobby has the winning retreat, king a3. Of course, after king b5, king b3, it would be a draw. But after the retreat, sometimes retreats are missed by human players. You only look in the forward direction, calculate the direct variations. After king a3, Black is lost. Because now the correspondence doesn't help. Okay, the Biscaya defense similar to the lines we have seen, but now his pawn on b6 is his undoing. White plays b4 followed by c5, c6 and so on, and so Biscaya result. Fischer of course knows his opponent game theory, and here is also helped by his incredible ability to calculate extremely precisely and accurately many moves ahead, and in pawn endings this helps a lot, of course, and he always plays on to the end and tries to set difficult problems to the opponent, and here it worked as Biscaya played b6 instead of the mistake b6 instead of king d2, which draws when Black's king keeps the right corresponding squares in the form.